I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and part 2 of the EVO 4G LTE versus Galaxy Note dogfight is about to start. But first, some love to Best Buy Mobile for hooking us up with phones like this that we give to you on the site at PhoneDog.com. When you walk into Best Buy Mobile, you won't deal with any rebates or messy paperwork, waiting 8 to 10 weeks for your money to come back. At Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out paying the after rebate price. Which one's the champion? Let's find out. It's part 2 of the dogfight, and it starts right now. So for part 2 of this video, let's take a look at some of the differences, because obviously they're both running Android, albeit a different version. This is running Ice Cream Sandwich, this is running Gingerbread, so 4.0, 2.3 over here. But there are some differences because of TouchWiz for Samsung's custom UI and then Sense for HTC's custom UI. So we'll start by looking at people, for example. We'll take a look at contacts and some of the differences here. Now both of these are obviously integrated into the phone application, as you can see here. Easily access the phone, groups and call history, and they scroll in and out pretty easily like that. But let's go back to people and take a look. And same thing up here, keypad, your call logs, your favorites, your groups, and more. So I have the options on both devices. Now here I've got some AT&T settings and services. So we'll just take a look, for example, where you can see message, call, groups, and ringtone. I can pay my bill. Whereas over here, I've got my phone book, and then I can add and do menu stuff up here. I can make this a favorite, for example, and then I can edit it just to show you what the editing screen looks like on both of these devices. A little bit of a difference, obviously, but you can add a lot of different features. You know, the phone numbers, the addresses, IM, events, where these people work. You can add camera pictures, and I like this because you got the option here where you can add a picture. Then up here I can take a picture with the camera. I can edit up here the name and go into details if I want to do like a middle name, a last name. I can do that and make sure they're all in the perfect spots. And then when I'm done, I can hit save. I'm going to hit cancel just for the sake of this. But you can see John Rogers, for example, here. Typical ice cream sandwich layout. Some HTC customizations here, but you got the name, you got the groups. I really love the way it's set up over here with mobile, with messaging shortcuts, with notes. Apparently he's Big Papa. And then you got the threading here where I can say, okay, we had a call history. We talked on May 21st at 4:48 p.m. We've got some email history, although Gmail doesn't come into that because the API isn't supported. Over here, no text messages, but if I did, they would show up right there. I've got some updates, then I can see gallery pictures that John Rogers is tagged in. So I like that. That's a pretty unique little touch. It's a cool feature, and it's something that I think is very useful in the long term, whereas you don't really get that over here. You don't have any sort of tabs where I can say, you know, what's new with AT&T customer care? When's the last time I spoke with them? You can find it through alternate methods, but it's still a better setup, in my opinion, over here as opposed to on the Galaxy Note. Now, where the Galaxy Note springs ahead is a cool little application called Memo. So let's take a look here, and forgive me while I pull the pin out. I can't do this. Let me see if I can do it while in front of the tripod here. So obviously there's a pin that comes pre-installed on this device, and then you can go over here, for example, and add a memo, or you can add text. So I found this to be really useful. I obviously carry this phone for 30 days as part of a 30-day challenge. I found this really useful when I was coming over here and doing notes. So I could say to do, call, friend, say hi to mom, whatever, and go back and forth through there. And of course you can have a variety of pen settings, a variety of colors. You can really have fun with this, draw pictures. I've drawn pictures for people on planes. I've done a lot of cool stuff with this device, and you can see some preloaded stuff as well, which is really nice. Of course you can do drawings and things like that. This is really useful. It seems like a niche kind of thing. I'd say about 14 days into the challenge, I was like, this is really useful for taking notes. I found myself just jotting stuff down, like at one point I walked 2 miles. I was like, I need to remember this. I was like 2 miles, you know, just a quick note, and hit save, and it showed up right there along with my Memo. It was really useful, surprisingly useful. Another cool feature is I can go into the web, and let's say I'm taking a look at PhoneDog. I can press and hold this button on the pen, take the picture, and then I can come in here and say, what do we want to change on the website? Let's say we want to do some design changes. So I'm like, I don't like the way all this new stuff appears. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this guy because he looks weird. Let's change this advertisement. Let's change the logo. I can do all that, and then I can share it via email in real time. So it's easy to snap pictures, change them around, and go from there. Really cool feature on the Samsung Galaxy Note. That's something I like a lot on this device. Over here you don't get that feature, obviously, but you do get some cool applications out of the gate. And you know, of course you get Ice Cream Sandwich, which is a really nice touch as well. Let's talk about cameras on both of these devices. 8 megapixels, and I'm going to spoil it. The winner of the camera contest, HTC EVO 4G LTE by a mile. And the reason why, it's got some cool features like ImageSense, excuse me, where you can, let me see if I have something. I hate to use a pen, forgive me for this, but I want to use it just for the text on this pen so you can take a look. Physical camera button over here makes it really easy to use this, and you can see, look how clear that is. Look how close I am, and I can take burst shots, and then when I let go, it shows all the pictures I've taken. I can select the best shot. That's a pretty good shot. We're going to say best, and let's delete the rest of the images as well, and that one's stored. This is huge for when you're watching some sort of sports game, or you're doing something in real time, or you're watching, let's say, the president's motorcade come through because the DNC is in Charlotte, and I'm like, snap, 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 pick the best picture, and I can be like, that's the best picture of the limo, and that's the best picture of all the Secret Service agents around, whatever. And then likewise, I have the ability to do that while I'm taking video. So I can shoot video, and I can come in here and record, and while I'm recording, I drop the phone, and then I break it, and that's not a good thing. But I can come in here and take pictures as well, and you can see them storing down here in the bottom. So along with my video, I've got pictures also that you can see. So I can do stills while I'm recording video. Huge over here. This is the first camera on an Android device I've ever seen that, in my opinion, rivals and or in certain settings outdoes the iPhone 4S, which has a fantastic camera out of the gate. So over here, decent camera on this device. Press and hold to zoom in, or to focus in rather, and you can take pictures like that. The shutter is a little bit on the slow side, but obviously you can see the differences here. Big display, HD display makes this a great option for taking pictures also, but I will say the EVO 4G LTE wins by a mile. You have the ability to change it around to the front-facing camera as well, and you can see where I'm shooting. Hello! And then back to settings, and I can change the quality of the pictures, the flash, the white balance, and all of that good stuff. So, camera, EVO 4G LTE. If you're somebody that likes taking pictures, that's something that's really important to you on a device, go with the 4G LTE or something like the 1X on AT&T or the 1S on T-Mobile, because it's a great camera. Huge improvements there. HTC has done a really killer job. Let's take a quick look at speed test and quadrant standard on both these devices. I don't know if I want to do speed test because Sprint's network is incredibly, their 3G network is very poor, and they're running out of time on the video. So we're going to run the full benchmark on both of these devices, and we'll talk about call quality. Call quality is great on both. This one has an edge because it's getting Sprint's HD voice capabilities later in the year, so it's going to be great. I've listened to it, it's fantastic. But overall, earpiece volume nice and loud. Speakerphone relatively decent. No real differences or any sort of cons that I would say pushes one ahead of the other, or I couldn't recommend one over the other. They're both pretty decent there. They've both been taken to respective dead spots and both perform relatively well. So no real challenges there. I think the battery life thing, honestly, they're both kind of on par. So you get a 2,500 milliamp hour battery over here and a 2,000 milliamp hour battery over here. I can make it through the day with both. It gets a little tight on the Galaxy Note. Had great battery experiences with the EVO 4G LTE. What I really like about this, the standby times are phenomenal. I've left this device in my office over the weekend, and I've come back and it has incredible battery life. I mean, it's dropped by like 18, I think it was 18% if I remember, 18 or 20% in testing. So I mean, it's very impressive, and I've been really pleased with both standby and battery on this one. Great over here too. I would definitely say both of these devices rank in my top 5 best battery life on Android devices of all time, behind the Droid Razr Max and its big 3,300 milliamp hour battery. So I'd say Droid Razr Max is first. This is probably second. EVO 4G LTE is a close third. They all do really great jobs there. So very kudos to both of those on battery life. That's kind of a wash, no real winner there. So quadrant standards loaded up over here, 4,985. So 4,985 in the EVO 4G LTE. Over here, it's still loading up and doing its thing. Let's see what it comes out to. And we will, come on now, there we go. Benchmark result, let's figure it out. Let's do this. And it comes in at 1,850. Take this with a grain of salt, 1,850 versus 4,985. What I will say though, there's a noticeable difference between using these devices on a daily basis. The Snapdragon S3 has always lagged for me. I've said this about every S3 I've reviewed. The Galaxy Note, the Resound, and there are a bunch of other devices that have debuted with the dual-core S3. S4, a night and day difference. This one actually performs better in a lot of situations, a lot of scenarios, than the quad-core Tegra 3 that's in the 1X. So keep that in mind, and it'll of course be interesting to kind of throw the Galaxy S3 in the mix with the new Exynos processor and see how it performs as well. Been very impressed with the EVO 4G LTE. So it's a tough call because these both have really unique features and they both have things that appeal to different people. The Galaxy Note, very unique, very much, I thought originally it was going to be a niche product. A lot of people like it that I didn't think would like it, and it also appeals to a market that no one really thinks about. People, older people, senior citizens, people that have a hard time seeing. This is a great device for them because they can make the text larger and it's just easy to hold in the hand. and easier to see. The winner of the dogfight goes to the EVO 4G LTE for a couple of reasons. One, the speed. This thing is fast. S4 processor does a great job. Two, kickstand, bigger battery life, physical camera button, all equal great things on this front. Three, ice cream sandwich out of the gate. Very, very big there. Four, $199.99 price point versus $299.99, although of course you can find them at different prices through third-party retailers. But apples to apples, cheaper price as well. And that's why the EVO 4G LTE takes the cake, although narrowly, between it and the Samsung Galaxy Note. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with both of these devices. Keep it locked on the site. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/PhoneDog. Hit me up on Twitter. Let me know what you think. PhoneDog_Aaron, and on Facebook at Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. I'm trying to make it through the end of this without coughing, and it's going to be really, really hard. So keep it locked in the site for continuing coverage. And as always, we'll see you next time.